All right, so good afternoon. Just a quick framing. This is our last sync before tomorrow's baseline. Yesterday we had a lot of gaps. Overnight, a bunch of them closed. Today is about landing three specific things. We want to merge in 201, the PR 201, and then the remaining scoring criteria. And we want every dev, be a confirmed login to the Langfuse instance. I've had three successful attempts so far, so I'm sure it's going to work for everybody. But I just want to make sure everyone gets in without any hitches. Yeah, but if we get all the golden questions in, so Brian and Emilio can merge them into their branch, and then they get their environment variables set up for the cloud Langfuse, and everyone gets their questions done, we'll be on track for Thursday's run. So this is the overnight story. Juan had 44 commits, huge commits. You implemented all. He implemented all five of their sub issues: the JSON endpoint, the conversation memory, and the tenant scoping, the response shape, and the API key auth, and the full test coverage. So the entire job intelligence engine backend is now live on the branch, and that's a PR201. And because that's all done, I want to walk through and just actually test it to make sure it's working. And if it is, I'll go ahead and merge that in and let you all know to pull it, because I'll be a big thing, but it shouldn't really give anyone conflicts. And that's just the big piece. So the other big noticeable changes, Nestor, he had his 10 role evolution scoring criteria completed. Brian created the related intents. Partial credit matrix plus the comparison criteria rewritten against the live DB. And then Anhill, you did the taxonomy audit addendum for the issue 229, I believe. So the criteria for the emergence is all complete. So we got a lot done overnight, but we still had the questions, which we'll get to in a minute, that need to be done. But basically, this is what I'd like everyone to take the time to do right now. If you haven't done it yet, in the chat, I created a link that will take you directly to your emails for your GitHub account. And if you could just DM it to me so I can make sure it's the same email that you use for primary. I just posted in general the gaps here. Let me pull that up real quick. The people I need it from, who's here. So Fatima, it'd be great if you could sign in to Langfuse just to make sure it's working, and just confirm that the email that you had shared previously is your GitHub primary. I don't want to post everyone's emails because I don't want to respect not share your email with everybody if you don't want to. But if you could just DM it to me, I could kind of make sure it's the one that was shared earlier. I just saw a lot of the emails were the UTEP emails, and I wasn't sure if that's what the ones you guys created GitHub accounts with, and I wanted to confirm, or else you'd immediately get an error trying to log in with GitHub. So if we go to general chat, I have that post there.
Yeah, mine works.
Yours works? Okay. So we still have Fabian. Can you log in now? I mean, I think you can use your email and password to log in, but I just prefer using SSO because it's I don't have to deal with any of the security or maintenance that comes with password storage. Langfuse seems to have it all wrapped into their bundle, but SSO is just a safer bet.
Yeah, it works for me.
Okay, cool. And then Emilio, are you here today? Nope, Emilio's not here today, and Enrique's not here either. Okay, cool. So we have just two people left to do it, and I'll follow up with them later. But yeah, so that will be after Brian and Emilio do their scoring. I'll run the evaluation. Then everyone will be able to get on here and score their questions based on the scoring setup. So yeah, cool. Looks like we're like
Mr.
95%
Garage,
on track.
all 90 questions. Well, not 90, but all 80 questions are already on everyone branches, right? Like,
No, we'll get to that in a second. There's some that are on left done, and it is 90 questions, not 80. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
That's the next slide, I do believe. Nope, following slide. We'll get to it in a second. So priority one is just the big thing that is what Ritu's asking, so I just kind of lifted it up. But is Ellis merged at PR 201 today? And just so you guys know what you'll get when you merge this from development is you'll get the endpoint, the routing schemas, the tenant scoping, excuse me. Basically, it's listed here, but it's basically all their task lists. Everything's completed and done. And then this is where we're sitting at on the questions. So, Fatima, were you able to get yours moved over and get that last question answered? So that is ready for commit. I know we talked about it earlier. I just don't know if you've updated it since I did these slides.
Yeah, mine should be good. I just need to push my work.
Okay, cool. And then Fabian, I was looking and I didn't see the questions in your guys' branch. I don't know if you have them done yet. The rest of you. Enrique is not here, but I kind of was gonna. Enrique, if you're watching this recording, I just Juan did all the tasks for the run book, so I know you guys had 15 split evenly, and if you could just do these 20, and if it's too much, Juan could step in and help, and you guys still do the split. Seems how Juan's finished, but yeah, it looks like Juan got everything executed on the run book. So just trying to split it up as evenly as I could. But it's really important we get these in by the end of the night tonight. So we have all these intent layers covered for scoring. So Brian and Emilio, you guys could start with that cursor prompt I gave you. You basically could just plug that into cursor, and then it will grab, once Fatima pushes, it will grab everyone else's and kind of walk you through getting all of them together. And it should give you an output of like what's not there yet, but it should be reflected here, what you see here. And then you could just run it again, I believe, and it will just, once we get updates from these guys, and you could have them all in there. We want to hold off on running it until we have all questions. I'm actually, and just a side note, I'm actually running ingestion right now again too, so we'll get more jobs in. Though they won't be run through the processing loop, but I'm running ingestion just to see how many jobs we opened up to. And I did a little deep dive into the Borderplex region too, and I added in Fort Bliss, Texas, just because it seemed like that was a spot too that has job openings, but they're mostly like government or military jobs. But I wanted to include them in the trends, and they were being skipped before, so that should add a new segment of data for job postings.
Sounds good.
Yep. So yeah, basically that's where we're at, and we'll get everyone in, and then. So here we got 2 coordination items. Welcome in, whoever just showed up. I can't tell who that was. So we have 2 coordination items, and on the first one, we just got to merge in. There's actually there's 2 branches that have fixes for the classifier, but they're not duplicate. They're actually fixes in different layers, so they need to be composed together. So Emilio's draft. Emilio, you have the draft, and it was still in draft, and I was hitting you up last night to see if it was ready. And I think it was close. We just needed to fix a linting issue, then flip it to ready, right? I think.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we need to get that in. I can handle merging that in, but we basically don't want to we just want to make sure we get both these fixes in, because there's also a fix in the 201 branch, I believe, is where it was at. But they're in different layers, right? There's a HTTP layer, and then there's the your layer, like on the back end stuff, where the fixes are both done. So both things will come in. So Yeah, you flip that ready to review. I'll handle the sync between Enrique's work that he did and on 201 and kind of make sure they all get pushed together. So I'll probably merge your branch. I'll probably just merge, rather than merge it into development, I'll probably merge it into 201 just so you have a heads up, and then merge 201 in. So it'll look like, and then I'll close the PR for your fix. That way everything's together cleanly, just to give you a heads up. And then I'll run the reclassification, so the misbucketed rows get backfilled. So I don't know if we have like a smoke script or a script set up to run just the reclassification, so I might have to like go through and audit and see if that's there, then make sure that gets run correctly. And when it does, I'll re-update the fixtures, and you guys kind of know the drill. I'll rerun the fixtures, merge them as a separate PR into development, and then ping you all. So it'll be two things. Well, three things. I'll resolve this fix, get it merged into development. Then I'll do the backfill, and then do another export the corrected tables to the JSON fixtures, and then I'll ping you guys again to get the fixtures. And then Fabian and Anhil and Fatima and Nestor, you guys just your findings. You know, they're rather than have these in two spots, can we just get you guys to one of you just to pull the findings and merge these into one group? We talked about this yesterday too, but let's make sure that gets done.
What was
Yes.
the question one more time, Gary?
A request really is just so you have your guys' findings. So Angel has his taxonomy gaps, and then Fatima has her geo evidence gaps. There's kind of like two peas in the same pod, but they're separated. Those findings, if they could just be brought together in one document, basically. And you could use Cursor to just condense them together, just that way it's not like similar information kind of spread across, multiple files. It's just a cleanup pass after you guys both did your found your findings and evidence. Does that make sense?
Yes, just one question. It's supposed to be like the top 3 gaps. How do we decide which are the top 3?
Yeah, if there's this, I'd honestly just let Cursor decide, but list all the gaps. Don't truncate them. Just like put them in priority order. That way I could look through and we could look at them, because really it's kind of like it depends what the top 3 are, what we're trying to do. It really is there's too much variables to like say these are the top 3. But we'll get them all listed out that are in your findings, and then we'll just you could just prompt it to put them in priority order for quality, right? And then we'll see what it says, and then I'll evaluate to see if that seems logical or if there's some things we need to change for our use case. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense. Thank you.
So here's where we're at for our task today to get started. Basically, Anhil and Fabian, your Epic 231s are your issues. Yeah, this code draft the doc finds like we just talked about. Fabian, do your disruption scoring 10 questions. And then on PR 201, if you could do a review for its impact on your analytics layer. That's one thing we really don't do, is we just kind of merge things together without reviewing first. Like I do review, but really if you could do a comparison against your layer and how it sits against this PR before I merge, and you could do a code review on it and just say it looks good. And you could use Cursor to walk through it. I don't expect you to open it up because it's like 44 commits and lots of files. It's not possible for a human to code review that, not sanely. So what I would do with this is just tell Cursor I want to do a code review against PR 201 and how it impacts my analytics layer, basically, and then do that comparison, and then You could even tell Cursor to draft a code review of PR201 to show impact, and then read through the draft, and then confirm, and then and just ask it to leave that code review on that branch for you. So that way, if there's any discrepancies here that don't line up, we could catch them before we merge, and they could get fixed up. Does that make sense? So basically, you could use Cursor as a guide to kind of walk you through it, and then you use your own critical thinking to review what it's saying, if there's any gaps or any considerations that it's not finding. Sometimes it's easier said than done, but for the most part, you kind of see if it's skipping gaps or it's trying to go a different direction than what we want and the focus is on quality so we want the data to be accurate and make sure that there's nothing being dropped. And like right now, for instance, we have all the weekly temporal stuff is all 0 rows, right? Because we just have the data that's all pulled in for the same week. So a lot of like the analytics and the questions that ask around those those kind of questions about any kind of delta over time just can't be answered. And that's the expected result. Those are the correct answers. They're not wrong. It's just that we can't answer them yet. And I'm hoping once I get ingestion done, ingestion is pretty quick, and then I'll run the processing loop once we get everything merged together, and I verify like on a small run of just a few jobs. Like once I'll ingest, so there's a bunch pending, then we'll run the processing loop. But I actually want to run it on a really like small, like this like batch of 5 jobs to make sure all the fixes that we've applied over this last week are actually landing correctly in practice. And then if that happens, then we'll run them all, and then we should have temporal data questions. By Monday, we should be able to have those kind of questions answered. But yeah, just do that review on PR201 for Anhil and Fabian, and use Cursor as your guide. You could don't have to go to the actual GitHub page. You do it in Cursor, and it'll use the GitHub API, right, to do the review, and you tell it to draft it up, and then you could tell it to apply the review to the 201, and it'll just leave it as comments. All right, so for Fatima and Nestor, you already did your trend criteria move, and then yeah, this the first thing aligns with your guys' second thing. For it's just like collaborate on those two, that getting those findings aggregated together. And then Nestor, I saw that you had documented the employer drill down live end to end. I think I saw that message in Discord.
Yes,
Yeah,
I finished that.
Okay, yeah, so you guys are sitting in a pretty good spot for tasks, and I would just look ahead on your run books. If there's still things open, make sure they're there, and you could also do. This is a big code review, and it's really important for 201. So honestly, 201's our endpoint to connect everything. So if you guys could do a code review as well, especially if you're done, just to help tighten things up and just make sure there's no gaps, with the same process I just described earlier. So you just compare your branch to PR201, ask Cursor to do a code review with the focus on data quality, and then just kind of walk through the steps, and then even asking at Cursor like for any additional gaps that may not be there is helpful, because sometimes there's like a lot of files to look at, so it like we'll only look at a small subset, not everything. So it's kind of iterating. And if you see things that aren't fixable by you, this is for everyone too. You could just say create an issue for this, and it will basically create an open issue. And that's great because it's like created, and it's like a snapshot of the problems created, but we can follow up on it later. Whereas if it so it doesn't get lost in chat. Like sometimes I'll be in a conversation, like I think it happened the other night with Brian, and we're looking at something, and I was just walking through my agent with something, and it like noticed 2 other errors, but they were like out of scope. But it was just like looking at it, found like 2 discrepancies in data, and it like surfaced some some bugs that weren't being picked up, even though I'm looking for bugs. And so I'll just make issues, so then I could come back later and say, give me a list of all the unopened or the unassigned open issues created in the last 2 days, and then I could do that in a fresh session and to start working on it. So that way things aren't lost. So when you're doing your review, if you find issues, have it create the issue, but also do the code review as well. And then and use your own judgment. If it seems like it's minor, that it wouldn't really affect quality, like it's a chore or it's a cleanup or a string has some discrepancy, it's a low risk thing really for quality. But if there's something high, like flag me right away, and we need to get on it to fix it. So that way, for demo day, we're ready. But just doing this maintenance of the code reviews are really important. So especially the groups that kind of finish and are waiting for next week, are waiting for this eval to land before we move on. Kind of shift your attention to code review and just doing an audit. Because that's especially going into next after week 12, like that will be the expectation. There won't be me like editing. We'll all kind of work on our own features and have to make sure everything fits nicely together, and we'll all be really worried about breaking stuff. So we should do a code review and see how everything fits together and open issues. And then if it's something that touches someone else's feature branch, we gotta like collaborate with them and fix collaborative issues before the merge, so everything plays nicely together. But yeah, and then Brian and Emilio, we've been talking in the Discord thread pretty recently, so I think you kind of know where you're at. Basically, you're just waiting for that cherry pick for the rest of the questions. Flipping that draft ready for review, and then you want to do the dry run for the scripts to upload the data set to LangFuse. And when you do that, just make sure you switch to the LangFuse keys I shared in the announcement in the Discord. So yeah, I'll be on pretty late, so even if you can't get to your questions till later, please get them done. I will happily get on late if you ping me and make sure that those are all accounted for. So that way tomorrow when we get together, we'll have some wiggle room between tomorrow's 2 o'clock meeting and the morning to get it tightened up before we get together. But really, we should be running eval at our meetup at our weekly wrap up tomorrow. We should have it be running. Yeah, and then Juan's not here. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and drive this merge. I'll do the review, and then Enrique. Yeah, Enrique's not doing all 30 questions, but Juan, you do your 10, and Enrique do the other 2, so for 20. Because Juan did that all the run book tasks for the week. So yeah, just to balance out the work between you guys. So this is the dependency chain. Just one last look. We got to get 201 merged. We got to get the 90 golden questions done. We want Brian and Emilio to be able to run the upload script with all 90 questions. And then we want them to be able to run the eval. And then each pair scores their traces on the shared LangFuse UI. So right now the project's empty. Once they run eval, we'll have things to score, and then we'll read through that tutorial markdown file I shared to do the scoring once that data is there. Yeah, and this is the safety net here. If 201 doesn't merge, Brian and Emilio, you'll run the harness against the run Guardrail to Analytics query directly, like we talked about yesterday. But it's the same pipeline. It just skips the HTTP layer. But really, we would like to run it through this, so like we validate this path before we do it, so it makes there's no surprises. Any questions?
Good on my side.
Okay. All right. That's a lot of information there. All right. So yeah. So today's action items. Brian and Emilio, make sure you update your EMV with what's shared in the announcement for the environment variables. So that way, when you go to run LangFuse, you are indeed connected to the cloud and not local. Everyone else, verify your login. It seems like everyone here is done. So we just got to get the last couple people in there. Yeah, I'll drive PR201. And then Amelia, flip your 236 draft to ready for review. That's part of the 201. And then I'll do the sequencing here too as well to make sure everything gets pulled together off of 201 and then the fix that once you flip it. Yeah, and Angel and Fatima, I think you guys know what to do there. The findings, just collaborate to get them consolidated together. Not the top three, just like I said earlier, just do them all. List it out. Make sure the markdown's listed so it kind of lists them in formatted way, but prioritize quality, ones that affect the quality the most and on down. And I have my suspicions it's going to be the weekly temporal data, right? Because that's where the big gaps are. But there's really nothing we could do about that until we get more information. But I just want everyone to be aware of that too, so that everyone understands when we ask the data and it fails, it's not a coding issue, it's a data gap issue. Yeah, and then Fatima, you did that already. Yeah, and then Fabian, the disruption questions. Enrique, when you're watching, make sure you get the employer plus the curriculum golden questions done. That's 20 questions by tomorrow is quite a bit, so please try to dial in and get as many of those done as you can. Ideally, we need them all. If Enrique, I know you're not here, but hopefully you watch the video. If it is a lot, do 5 for each, rather than 10 for one and 0 on the other one. If your schedule doesn't allow it and you can't get them all done, which is ideal, the second best thing is spreading them evenly across the 2 intents, so we have some questions to check and score for both intents. Then Juan, yeah, would please split those up with him. You're not here right now, and I want to get this 201 done, so the work of reviewing 201 against other branches to see if everything's in alignment will really fall on me instead of you. So yeah, please just help with those questions when you're watching this. And it's 30 fresh criteria, so it's 30 questions, not 40. Juan, you do the workflow intent, and then Enrique will do the employer and curriculum intent. Yeah, and then Brian and Emilio, you know the drill already. Just cherry pick. You can use that cursor prompt as they land. And people, please, when you get your questions done and they're committed, don't just commit and done. We got to communicate. So go to Brian and Emilio's thread in the week 9 and just tag them and say that you pushed theirs, so that they have a clean signal to go ahead and run their cursor prompts and aren't just running it blindly to check because no one's communicating. Make sure you communicate that they're uploaded. And remember, the process for doing this is you want to get them uploaded and then review to make sure the data is valid like the questions, like the quality answers. You could use Cursor to come up with the ideal answer, but make sure you validate it against the data first, and that it's not false, or else our scoring will be skewed. Right? We won't have good data sets. So just a reminder, that's in the run book for, or in the reading for doing the golden questions. But just a reminder, that's really important. Yeah, but the hard deadlines today are just the golden questions for you guys. I'll get 201 merged, and then tomorrow morning, if you guys are available, hopefully we could get all this in and get the baseline ran, so that when we get together, we could have it done, and then we could have time to go look at the results on Langfuse before we get together. Ideally, that would be great for me if it's already ran, because then I could go on Langfuse and look, and then we could talk about how we're gonna score it more concretely. All right, I know we kind of ran fast as 40 minutes instead of 60, but I think we covered everything. If there's no questions, I'd like to spend the next 20 minutes answering questions or talking through anything if anyone needs any help. But if not, I'll go ahead and stop the recording and just kind of hang out. And you guys could drop off and get to work if you want to, or you could stick around and ask questions. But thank you.